Hi everybody, welcome back. I'm going to be doing a full face, or a nearly full face actually, of some new makeup items that I've purchased recently. So I've gotten some new lip liners, I've also got some base products as well that were off my wish list. So I've got quite a few new pieces of makeup in my collection now, so I thought it would be a good idea to do a video, put them all on my face and give you my thoughts on them. I don't have any new eye makeup though, so that bit is the only part of the full face that isn't going to be new. Also, I'm a bit pushed for time today for filming today's video, so my washing machine is currently on in the room behind me, so if you do hear it, apologies, but I don't have any other time to film today, so I thought I would quickly do this. So let's zoom in then and we'll get started. So I've done my skincare and I've done my SPF, so the next step is primer, and I have two recent primers that I've bought. I've bought the Embryolisse, or Embryolisse, I don't know how you say it, multi-protection cream. Now this is actually a moisturizer, but I've seen so many videos and recommendations of using this as a makeup primer, so I thought it'd be interesting to try this, and I've not tried this one yet actually, so this will be a first impressions. And then the other one I've got is an actual primer, and it's the NYX Plump Right Back Primer. I googled the best hydrating primers, sorry, and this one came up along with this one, and I wanted a cheaper alternative to Bobbi Brown Face Base. So I thought, let's try both of these and see what they're like. So I'm actually going to do Embryolisse on this half and then the NYX on this half so we can compare. So I'm just using about a pea-sized amount, I would say, of the cream. Oh, it's very cooling. It's quite fluid. It's not a thick cream like the Bobbi Brown Face Base is. That feels really hydrating. Yeah, that's sunk in quite nicely. It's given a bit of like a nice glow left over. So that's nice. And then I'm going to use one pump of the NYX one. So this is like a clear gel. So a different texture. Also feels quite cooling. Quite fluid as well. And this one has also made my face look a little bit glowy and a bit shiny afterwards. So let's see how the products apply over the top. First step of my makeup routine, well, I suppose after the primer, is always the Bobbi Brown colour corrector in the shade Light Bisque. So let's see how this applies over the Embryolisse. Am I saying that right? I don't know. Over the Embryolisse side. Yeah, that's blending in really nicely. Doesn't look dry. I always thought that primer didn't do anything, but actually, having used a few primers now, it really does make your makeup blend in that bit better. Makes it look less dry, less cakey, less heavy. It's just easier to put on your foundations, your concealers afterwards. I mean, I don't use it every time I wear makeup. I know I probably should, but there are times when I'm a bit lazy and I think I just can't be arsed, and then my makeup doesn't look as good and I think, oh, I should have just put the primer on. So years ago, and I'm talking probably about 10 years ago now, I remember owning the Yves Saint Laurent Touche Eclat foundation and absolutely loving it, and I've had really fond memories of it ever since, although I've not repurchased it until recently, and I can't remember what it was that made me purchase it, but I just wanted to try it again, so I bought it. And I've got this in the shade B20, and I think I've only used this once or twice since purchasing it. It's a very fluid foundation. And I can't really remember whether it's as good as I remember it being. So this is just one pump. That goes quite far. Going to use a damp beauty blender to blend this in. I think the shade match is really good for me. I actually went online and used their chat function to figure out what shade. I told them some other shades of foundations that I am, and they suggested this one, and I think this one is actually a pretty good match. And this blends in really nicely over the top of both of those primers. I'm not really noticing a difference between each side. And I like the finish of this as well. I like that it provides a sort of a medium coverage probably. I wouldn't say this is full. You can still see, you know, I've got a blemish there. You can still see a bit of my dark circles. My skin still looks like skin, but it just looks a bit more covered, I guess. Next, I've got two new concealers, and they're both off my wish list. The first one is the Nars Radiant Creamy Concealer, and I actually picked this up in a mini. I've got this in the shade Madeleine. I had never tried this before. I've only tried it a couple of times since getting it into my collection. So I thought, I've heard great things about this, let's try that. So I'm gonna do that on this half of my face, I think. And then on the other half, I've got the Vieve Modern Radiance Concealer, and I've got this in the shade Light 3. A bit tricky to know what shade to go for. I used the shade matcher on their website, but I think you can only input one foundation or one concealer to get a shade. So depending on which one you enter, you get a different result. So looking at the descriptions of the shades, I actually went for Light 3, which I think is like the warm peach one or something like that. I think Light 1 was too light and Light 2 was too pink. So Light 3 is the one that I went for. And I think this shade is a good match. Again, only use this one a couple of times, so I'm going to put that one on this half of my face. So I went for the Nars one in a mini because it takes ages to use up a concealer. And I thought, well, I've got now 4 other concealers. Let's just go for a mini, see how you like it. And if you do get on with it, then you can just get it in a full size. So I quite like mini options of makeup. And then this is the Vieve one. The texture is a little bit thicker. It's a bit more kind of mousse-like. I think the colours are very similar. So that's good, that's something. Okay, it's been about a minute. Let's blend this in. I like to use a damp sponge to blend my concealer in. I don't know how people can use brushes. On me, it just looks so incredibly heavy, and I use a small amount of concealer, but I just don't like how it looks. I can see all the brush strokes. It just doesn't look nice. Whereas with a sponge or with my finger, I get more of like a seamless finish. And this is blending really easily, really nicely. Did an alright job at kind of concealing my under eye there. Nice, like that. Let's see what the Vieve side is like. Well, that blended super quickly. I have heard some people say that getting used to the texture of the Vieve one is a bit tricky. So maybe this is one that might work better with the brush, perhaps, but I think that has blended in really well, really quickly. Not too much of a difference, I don't think, in terms of coverage. Maybe the Nars one a little bit more coverage, but both really easy to blend. Good amount of coverage, good shade choices for me as well. The rest over my eye. Yeah, happy with those, like those. Very nearly forgot about that bit of concealer up there on my forehead. Whoops, that would have been bad. Okay, so I've got a couple of choices for the rest of the base makeup, both from my wish list. First is the Vieve Dimensions palette in the shade Dawn. So you have a bronzer in here, 2 blushes and a highlighter. This is all powders. And then I've also got a cream product. This is the Stila Convertible Colour Dual Lip and Cheek Cream in the shade Lilium. And it's this kind of like mid-toned pink. So I'm gonna actually use all of it. I know that I'm gonna be dipping back and forth between like powder and cream, but we'll just have to try and make it work. Going to start off with using the bronzer in the Vieve palette. These are good sized pans. They're big enough to get your brush in, which is good because sometimes the pans in face and eye palettes or face palettes can be quite kind of small and difficult to get your brush in. Vieve powders are really, really easy to use. I love their powders. So a nice kind of natural bronzed effect. Obviously you can go in with a lot more if you want, but because I'm going to be going in with a few more colours on my cheeks, I think I'm just going to leave this here like that. I'm going to go in with the Stila one next. Now this is really pigmented. All I'm going to do is that, and that's kind of pretty much all you need, but I will build it up if I need some more, but I do find that just one press with your brush is enough. I mean, look, That's really pigmented, that's really, really pink. Definitely needs blending in, but the final effect is just so juicy. It's so like plump. It's a nice healthy flush, a nice like healthy natural flush to your cheeks. It's so beautiful. Now I bought this because I looked at the makeup that was used on Phoebe, who plays Daphne in Bridgerton in series 1, and I just loved the real no makeup or real minimal makeup look that she was wearing in that series, and this was the cheek product that she used. I think it was also used on her lips sometimes as well, but I just loved the, like I say, the juicy natural glow. Same with the other side, just one tap with the brush. See, it's just so juicy and just so natural. I really love this product. It's so beautiful. Love that. Now I don't want to overload my cheeks, but I do want to use a little bit of the powder blushes in here just to kind of, I suppose, show you what they're like. So obviously just bear in mind that I've got colour on my cheeks already. Now you have a blush and then you've got Blush Intense. So the blusher is that one there, and then the Blush Intense is that one. So I suppose the blush is like a real nude pink, and then the Blush Intense is more of a peachy shade. So I'm just going to dip into both of those just a little bit and just layer that over the top of Lilium. So I don't want to add too much in terms of colour. I don't want to be like really rosy cheeked, but obviously I just want to demonstrate how both of them look. And then going to use the highlighter. So this is like a soft yellow gold highlighter. Now, I swear I say this every time I mention highlighter. I'm not a highlighter person, but this highlighter seems to be quite pretty. It's not hugely pigmented, so it is a nice one to kind of build up. And it doesn't look hugely glittery. There's just a nice little, you see that? Nice little sheen to it. Although apparently her liquid highlighters are a lot better than the powder ones. I think it's Skin Dew, and I think that's also on my wish list as well. I get confused between Skin Dew and Skin Nova, and I am interested in trying her liquid highlighter because I think that will be a bit more natural than a powder. But they're just really blendable, easy formulations to work with. The colours are nothing too garish, too bright, too vivid, just a really natural, pretty blush. So that's the palette and the cream blusher. Now I don't have anything new for the eyes, so I'm just going to go and do that off camera, but to tell you what I'm going to be using, I'm going to use my NYX eyeshadow base because I'm trying to use that up. Also going to use Vieve Eye Wand in Sand, a bit of brown liquid liner by Ico, brown mascara, and then a bit of brow gel and brow pencil. Eyes done, so lastly let's do lips, and I've recently purchased 4 NYX lip liners, and I'm trying to find a lip liner or a lip shade that is basically my lips but better. So these are my lips with nothing on. As you can see, they're very pale, a very like cool tone blue based pink. So I've been trying to find a lip colour that kind of matches this and just enhances it a little bit, and I looked at some swatches for NYX lip liners, so I picked up 4 of them. I've got them in the shades Natural Nude Pink, Peekaboo Neutral, and then Global Citizen. So up the top is Natural, and this one is meant to be, I think, one of the most popular lip liner shades, and I can totally see why, because it is that kind of nude shade, but it's like a hybrid between a pink and a brown. Underneath it is Peekaboo Neutral, and this one is pink, but it's like a coral pink. It's quite a warm, rosy pink. Underneath it is Nude Pink, and this one is a bit more cool. This one very much is more pink compared to the other 2 above it. Not really much brown in that one at all. And then underneath is Global Citizen, very brown. This is a dupe for MAC Strip Down. I wore them both next to each other once and they were exactly the same. This one is a different formulation to the other 3. The top 3 are the black lip liner pencil, so just the lip pencil, whereas Global Citizen is a new one, and this is the Line Loud lip pencil. So it is more creamy in comparison to the other 3, but the other 3 are still very creamy as well, and I much prefer the formulation of these compared to the MAC lip liners. So I think looking at these, I'm gonna go for Peekaboo Neutral. That one is calling my name. So it is similar to my lip colour. Maybe not as cool toned as say Nude Pink is. But they're very easy to use, very creamy, but they have staying power as well, so they're not going to completely, you know, slip off your lips. Actually, you know what? Let's go for a bit of Nude Pink as well, but let's line more inside my lips with this one. And then I'm just going to use a bit of NYX Clear Lip Gloss. And that is the finished makeup look. So the final look then is quite kind of pretty, quite girly, quite kind of like a fresh, easy, natural sort of makeup look. And it's nice as well to go for a glossy lip as well. I don't often go for a glossy lip, but these Kiko lip glosses are excellent. If you've tried any of the makeup products I've tried in today's video, please let me know your thoughts on them as well. Please let me know if you like this makeup look as well. Don't judge the technique, I'm not professional, but let me know what you think. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Please also subscribe if you haven't as well. It would be lovely to have you here. And I'll see you again very soon for my next video. Thanks guys, bye.